This is
Quickly.
going off the rails.
All right, let's
We
get
got to
back on
get
the
this
rim.
started. All right. Here we are, guys. Big breaking news. I guess I wouldn't call it breaking news, but let's call it news about Tesla possibly doing a pivot and how they're selling full self-driving. So just a few hours ago, Elon posted this. He said Tesla will stop selling FSD after February 14th. That's a month from now. FSD will only be available as a monthly subscription thereafter. Lots to unpack here to figure out what this all means. Joshua said, if you were paying 99 a month, it takes 80 months to pay back that purchase. If you paid off that purchase, uh, $8,000, it would have taken you at 99 a month, 80 months. The average length of time America's keeping new cars 8.4 years. So, does it really matter if you bought it or didn't buy it? But
you have to
Omar,
assume that FSD is going to be $80 or $99 a month for 8 years, which I think is delusional.
yeah, but Omar found this, which is, do you guys remember that California had this little bit of a thing where their lawsuit against Tesla because they claimed that Tesla should not have called it full self-driving. Well, it says here that the DMVs can appeal, Tesla can appeal it or seek a court review by February 14th. That could be why. And Omar said, well, that's why they might have done it. They could appeal on that grounds that they're no longer selling the package at that point. I think it's way beyond just that. I think this was planned all along, and there's a lot of reasons. So let's unpack that. What are you guys thinking?
I want to hear Nick's thoughts first. Go for it.
Why do I go first? I never go first. I go last. I don't know if there's more, to it. Before Omar posted that, I would have thought that there's more to it. But once he posted that, it's like the dates are just too much of a coincidence, I think. So I'm just trying to be cautiously optimistic. My thoughts before Omar posted that, though, was this is huge signal that this is them. I mean, Elon has said for a long time, we will stop selling this once we are ready to go full FSD, unsupervised FSD, robotaxi. He has told us that over and over again. So when I saw that post, I think that was last night that I saw, or this morning, whenever he posted it, to me, it was big signal that while we don't see all of the robotaxis out there, we don't see all the new cities, all the expansions, that, like Hans said, it's big indication that we are getting ready to do a huge push to really launch this bigger than what I call the MVP, minimal viable product, that we've had as of late. And now we're going to go into full general availability. And as we do that, as normally is with the MVP product, where you get kind of better pricing, early type adoption benefits, now that's ending. Now it's GA time. Now it's subscribe or you don't get to use it. And I think this is pretty bullish if that is the case. However, in the last hour, I think Omar posted that, and it's just hard to ignore that the dates are so exact. So I don't know. I'm hoping that I wish I wouldn't have seen that, so I could just sit here and be just really optimistic, like, okay, here we go. But the truth is, he posted that, and now I know it, and so now I'm a little more grounded, I guess. So those are kind of my working thoughts. I'm, as always, open to change my mind. So please, guys, put me back on the hype train.
Well, I think one possible way to get back on the hype train is to think, hey, this is something that they were planning to do, and maybe they shifted the rollout date a little bit just in order to
I'm back on
match up.
That's all I needed.
But yeah, I mean, we can't know, being outside of Tesla. One of the things that I'll say is that, quite some time ago, I came up with a model for, an intermediate FSD as a service business model that Tesla could pursue just kind of as an option. There was supposed to be like a base case that, hey, if we're not ready to roll out, robo taxis in the late 2020s, we can still make a ton of money on just FSD unsupervised on customer cars, and not even at the point that we're operating a robotaxi as a service business model. And so in that whole exercise, the assumption that I made was that we were absolutely going to stop selling just these permanent uncapped upside licenses for people, and that it would go to subscription only or pay as you go, one of the two. So we'd completely change the pricing model for it, and then that there would be differing options for different types of consumers. So, there would be pay as you go, like pricing per mile. And that would probably be the highest price per mile if you're actually using it in any significant amount of quantity. And then there would be, hey, like if you want FSD supervised and you don't want to be able to text while you drive, well, that's okay. You can still subscribe to that. But you're still going to have to sit in front of the driver's seat. You're still going to be liable, all those things. And, that'll be $99 a month or $79 a month or $150 a month. Who knows? Like whatever they feel like is the right setting for that long term. And it could start out lower and then move higher over time. It could start out higher so they can push people towards unsupervised. It's really all going to depend on whatever Tesla's in-house dashboards are saying metric wise and where they want to push the business and how the software is progressing at that point in time. And so I think this is huge signal that this is the direction. Like, even if Omar is right, I don't see Elon 2 months from now going back and saying, okay, we're, putting it back on sale for $8,000 a month. Like, I think this is a permanent shift in the way that FSD and autonomy is sold to the public. And it really, this is a fundamental change in the business model of Tesla, like we talked about, that moving forward, Tesla's going to make the vast majority of its revenue and especially its gross profits from selling transportation as a service instead of selling miles. And that is a huge fundamental transformation. It necessarily goes with a re-rating of the business from a stock valuation perspective. And, that can be either positively or negatively. Like if the whole value of Tesla is based on its ability to deliver on robotaxi services, and then it's failing to deliver on robotaxi services in accordance with the expectations of the market, then that can be extreme volatility to the downside. Or on the flip side, if you're no longer an auto business and you're not tied whatsoever to that extremely low margin business model, then there is a lot of justification for significant upside, especially when you think about the fact that, transportation is something that has elasticity of demand. If you can lower the price, you greatly increase the number of miles that people want to travel. And so you can, even with a smaller overall market share, you can still have huge upside for growth. And so all of those things, I think, are things that Tesla investors really need to be thinking about at this point in time. And I don't think very many people who've been paying attention are surprised to this. Like Nick said, this is exactly what Elon said we would do when we get to basically this level of maturity of the software. And so, like the Tesla bulls understand this. We know this. This is what we've been anticipating. And now we get to finally live in this end game that we have been hoping for quite a number of years at this point. And it's really exciting that today is the day that we're, finally getting that end date of the last $8,000 FSD sales.
Wow, that was a lot, Hans. Thank you for that. That was great. So let's break this down. Number one, I think that California lawsuit against Tesla because of the term full self-driving, it's absolutely weak. That was not going to win in any way at all. So I don't think that, they moved up the subscription so they stopped selling it so they can address that. It's a nice little thing, but it really wasn't something that I think that Tesla was very concerned about. They've got disclaimers all over the place. It really was more of a political move of, trying to just little needle pokes at Tesla. This idea that Tesla is now moving, as Elon just said, to catch up folks earlier today, he said Tesla will stop selling FSD after February 14th. It's only going to be available as a monthly subscription thereafter. there was a lot of signs, a lot of signs. Let's count the ways, all the ways that they've been showing us that they're moving to a subscription model, right? They've started to do the all in the rental program first of all, testing out how to do a monthly, a sort of weekly, daily subscription, all in bundled in. They did a package, right, for some sort of a premium package for the premium cars where you can just pay for it, all in bundled as well. They started to sell you windshield insurance, tire insurance, all as a monthly price. Everything's coming together. Insurance, we've been reporting just in last week that it was stuck at 12 states for 3.5 years. And all of a sudden, last month, 3 new states were added. It's crazy.
Florida.
And same thing with rental, by the way. The same thing with rental. We thought that they launched it. I don't remember how many. I think 8 cities they said they were going to do it in. And in the last week, all of a sudden, this city, this city, and this city were added to that. This is where we're going. I think February is more likely the reason why they're doing it now instead of January is because that's when I think FSD, the version 14.3, would have been launched by then. And Elon's been hinting, and Ashok himself saying that this next version of FSD is basically the final version, or the version that will prove, get
The
most
first
of the
final.
the first one, the one that's finally going to get people to realize it's
The first
it's
non-beta.
I don't
Yes.
even know what words to call it, but
It's
good enough.
the end of the beginning.
I like that. Yeah, they're getting. So it's kind of lined up, right? Because he said it's somewhere January, February that next version is going to come out, and so at that point, it's going to be a magnitude better than what 14.2.3 is, and that is already so good. Then why sell it direct? We're going to switch everything to subscription. Now we don't know what the monthly price is, so let's debate that. Like, what's the structure here, guys? Is it going to stay $99? He didn't say that. He just said as a monthly subscription thereafter. He didn't say $99, right?
I think at the
You're correct.
beginning, it might stay the same at that $99 a month, but give it any significant amount of time and we'll start to see multiple options available here that will split out, like I said, functionality and pricing per mile. It's just a matter of time. Like that's where this ends in a mature market.
I would also say, I've long said that I think if they do FSD unsupervised for the layperson, which I will still say I don't think that's coming soon. I think their priority is robotaxis. But if or when they do that, I'll say when they do that, I imagine it will probably be in states that have Tesla insurance, to Han's point. That way they can say, hey, FSD now is $150 a month. Your insurance is only $100 a month. That's $250 a month you pay us, and it's still cheaper for you, right, than just your normal insurance alone. But your insurance will go up when you're not using FSD, right? Like I think there's lots of creative ways they can do that, and I think the fact that they're continuing their progress with insurance, finally launching in Florida, Tennessee, I don't know what the other state was, but this shows that this is, I think, a path that they're going to go towards, because it only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be the most profitable insurance company in the world if they can have the safest software in the world for driving and still be able to get good premiums because their risk is going to be so low.
Look, I'm going to make a huge prediction, and again, you guys have already heard this before, so I don't think anybody's going to be shocked. Tesla will stop selling cars to consumers, but they will do lease. Everything will become a lease, and it'll be a very low monthly lease.
What?
It's
I'm
gonna be a
shocked.
low monthly lease that is bundled. You got you got insurance, you got FSC. That's why they have to switch FSC to a monthly fee, a structure, monthly tiered subscription model. You got FSD, you got insurance for the car. Maybe it'll include cleaning, whatever, but there's a lease. Why leasing? Because if you have low monthly leasing price, you get Tesla as a company, get somebody paying you money for this new car. After 3 years, 36 months is done, they take it and they put it into the robo-taxi network because Tesla owns the car. They make $30,000 per year afterwards. If you're making $30,000 a year in the fourth year, why even charge that amount of like, huge amount. You just lease as crazy, make the monthly price so low that everybody will buy it, and then you just get a bunch of cars coming into the network, paid
Herbert,
for.
why lease then? Why even lease?
Okay, yeah, maybe not. Why?
Why would you lease at that point?
So when I
I think
that
one of the
question
big reasons here, actually, to answer that question, will be one of the big factors in the, is there going to be a compact car with a steering wheel and pedals question? It will be especially important in markets that have not yet opened up from a regulation standpoint, that you can go ahead and have a lot of vehicles that are sold in a specific market, that you're basically pre-placing for when you actually get to roll out robotaxi in that jurisdiction.
That's fair, but what Herbert's talking about is at maturity. So my question is, at maturity, why would you even lease? Like, as an individual, what would be my benefit to lease? And let me just front run what I think the answer is for a lot of people. Well, what if I want to keep something in my car? All right, so you're telling me you're going to have a reoccurring monthly bill that's a lot higher just so you can have a closet? Like, that's insane. That makes no sense. Car
Just
seats,
call it the
guess
boomer
what?
lease.
Right? Yeah.
What
Car
do you mean?
seats
What do
for
you mean?
kids and stuff.
What do you mean? Sorry, I don't understand.
Because someone like Farzad would be
higher?
like, would be like, hey, I want to keep my basketball, my football, and or who am I kidding?
Yeah,
he wants to keep his microphone and his wand in the back. I hope he's watching. I don't know. I'm trying to make fun of him. His guitar. He'd have his guitar back there.
Yeah. I agree with the theory that at some point Tesla will do a monthly price. I would pay a monthly price, and I can decide what car I want in my garage. I want a Model 3 in my car this whole week. But this weekend, I got a wedding to go to. I want the Roadster. And then next weekend, I've got to help somebody move. I want the Cybertruck. And then the next weekend, I want my family's coming over. I want the Model Y. So it's a lease, isn't it? It's the same thing. It's a monthly payment that I don't own the car, but
that sounds more like a membership. Yeah, like a subscription to transportation as a service. Like, if you're changing the car, then to me that's not a lease anymore. Like the lease, you own the same car, for the entire time that you're doing the lease. So yeah, if you do have the option to say, like, over this 36 months, you have this car, except you then have the option for like 3 months out of the 36 to upgrade to other vehicles. I don't know, that maybe you still call that a lease. That's a very interesting business model, and something that I'd be interested in.
It's a software model. Okay. So the way software and tech sales works would be, you have spot pricing, which would be what Uber is right now, right? Uber spot pricing. So that should be your most expensive paying per mile. But then if you want to have a 1 year commitment, you're telling Tesla, hey, I'll commit to you for 1 year, you get a better discount on for the per mile basis. If you say I commit to 3 years, you get even better. If you do 5 years, you get even better. And normally people do their upgrades or updates every 3 years at most in the software world. But in the software world, even then, it's gotten down where people really don't like to do more than 1 year commitments, because it's just not worth it. Maybe for software, it'll be worth it, like if you have your Okta subscription or CrowdStrike. But if you're working with like a HPE or Dell and you're throwing VMware on top of that, that's where it makes more sense to do 3 to 5 years, right? Because there's a hardware component on there that's long-term licensing, like with VMware, that is just like it's essentially hardware in a sense. It virtualizes the hardware, but it's like you're not changing that, right? Okta, there might be things you want to change. CrowdStrike, you might want to leave CrowdStrike to another security vendor. But so I think it'll fold into that type of consumption. But as an individual, I would want to switch out constantly. I don't constantly want to switch out my authenticator. I don't always want to go, oh, I want Okta. Oh, now I want Google Auth. Oh, now I want to go back to AD. You're not doing that. But with a vehicle, you might, to your point, say, I want Roadster. Oh, now I want Model 3. I need a Model X. I got family coming in. Oh, I got to move this this pallet. I need a Cybertruck. So that's where I think the lease paradigm doesn't
exist. I agree with you
in
the monthly. So there's a rental program that Tesla is expanding. Then there is the robotaxi program. Look at this. Tesla is hiring the senior software engineer for a robotaxi platform, And guess what? Look at this. The job description suggests the robotaxi service may offer a subscription model. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it
that
does
makes sense.
sound very
Uber does
similar
that.
to Uber does that, right? So you
Yeah.
come in, robotaxi growth, that's what they're meant for. So when you want to rent a robotaxi, you pay per mile. But at some point, like you're saying, you would pay a monthly subscription and you get a certain amount of miles or rides. You can have that. And at some point, well, right, you can even take it further and say, you know what? I want the car available to me at all times. I want it in my garage. So if you want that, you can, but you just pay a monthly payment for it. But
Yeah.
everything's bundled. Everything's
Again,
bundled in it.
Just look at how cloud works. It's the same thing, because cloud, you can have instances that you get as they're available, but if you want guaranteed available for a certain instance, then you pay for that guarantee, and it's going to be more expensive, right? It's going to be the exact same model. I guarantee it. Everything has
It's software.
fallen to this model.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even things like Netflix have fallen to this model. Just literally everything. And it makes sense because you're trying to do the most you can to entice the people that aren't using your software yet. And then you want to entice the people who have to have less churn. And so it makes sense. It just does.
It's just a pricing model for every different type of consumer is all that it is. Like, so that you have something for everyone.
So right now, it's not a shock so far because you've got Tesla selling cars, making a margin on the car, $5,000 to $7,000 per car sale. Then they're trying to upsell you on an FSD monthly subscription. And the places where they offer insurance, you can buy that separately. You can buy windshield insurance. You can buy a premium package. These are all just separated things. And then they're playing around with these bundling of a one monthly price for a bunch of things. When they do this, when does the Tesla stock realize that this is the case? It's reminiscent of what happened with Apple. They used to sell you hardware, you buy a phone and they make money. Then they said, we're going to start moving more to a subscription model, and that you pay them monthly to get the cellular package. Everything is and then they started to sell you the phone on it, right? They have these packages where you can just pay monthly and then swap it out every several years. Services included, all these things. And then they started selling you huge monthly packages. I pay Apple some ridiculous amount of money. I can't remember what it is. $60 a month maybe for, terabytes of storage, Apple One, everything. But it took Apple stock 3 years for people to even believe that this was going to happen, that they were going to move to subscription. And once they do, the stock jumps because investors love subscription. It's almost all margin. You got a locked in customer base. When might that happen for Tesla?
Hans,
I think they have to show data on their ability to convert customers into subscriptions. Like, if the take rate just stays at what it's at right now, I don't think that it moves the stock at all. And so you're going to have to see some inflection in some of those types of metrics before Wall Street's willing to. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see the stock respond pretty quickly to those types of things. I think, based on the PE that we're trading at in Tesla today, that tech forward, AI forward investors, they're not in full control in the market, but I think they have significant influence. And I think that their opinion is reflected into the stock fairly quickly these days.
So I kind of agree. But I think the bigger adoption is going to come just as people see robotaxis out there. It's just going to be, it's the lowest friction that will. Here's why ChatGPT moment can't happen. I know we've talked about that a lot, Herbert, but ChatGPT moment can't happen as of today because with ChatGPT, there was no friction to using ChatGPT. Everyone has a phone, everyone has a laptop, everyone has internet. So it was free to try it. So the barrier to entry was essentially nothing. But with FSD right now, the barrier to entry is buying a 30,000 plus vehicle and then paying a subscription or $8,000 for it, right? That's extremely expensive. That's a really hard barrier to entry. But with robotaxi, now the barrier to entry, a couple bucks,
An Uber ride.
an Uber ride, exactly, if not less. And so that will be the unlock. So then people will be like, oh my God, I can't drive my next car. I'm going to need to go buy a Tesla. Or of course, I'm going to get the subscription. Why wouldn't I? It's like Uber, but now I don't have to pay Uber. I just have my own Uber. And I think that's what will be the unlock for FSD. But I think it's going to work backwards, not the way we always thought it would.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what the FSD take rate numbers show as cybercabs start to become ubiquitous. Like, I think there are lots of people who are just normie Tesla drivers who have no idea, like people who even drive brand new hardware for cars, they just have literally no idea what the car can do and would be happy to pay $99 a month if they even had the first clue. And once you start seeing these Tesla cybercabs around, it'll be like this big flashing sign like, hey, dummy, your car can do this too. Maybe you should try it.
What do you think, Herbert?
What do I think about what?
About your question.
When does the stock actually reflect the
it took
improvements
Apple 3+
in the
years
in the
it's
business
going to take
model?
a really, really long time. Investors are dumb. I don't know. I just don't know. They don't get it. They don't see it ahead until it's right in front of their face. Until, like you said, cash is flowing in on a subscription model significantly more than just the
I think-
cash coming in from the car sales.
Herbert's
Sorry.
Tesla stock enthusiasm is my inverse Kramer indicator. When Herbert is excited,
good.
that's
That's good.
gonna go to the moon this year.
Ouch.
I'm like, I don't know about that in 2022, 2023. And
What'd
then
I
now he's
say?
like, investors are dumb. I'm like, okay, I'll
Hans
take
is
the
like,
other side of that.
buy Leap.
Buy Leap tomorrow.
Not.
Herbert. But yeah.
Let me add some nuance to what you just said, Herbert. One, non-Tesla investors are dumb. And then
Yes.
two, I don't think, or my opinion is that I don't think we need to see things show up on the P&L sheet for Tesla. I just think that we need to get exposure out there. Same with ChatGPT. ChatGPT didn't need to show P&L, right? They didn't. What? Why are you saying, dude? You disagree with me?
Stock's been flat for 4 years.
What are you talking about? The
Why?
stock has
Because
not
of
been flat
earnings
for 4
has been
years.
flat for 4 years.
Stock has not been flat for 4 years.
Well, I guess that's changed the last 6 months. I guess so. Yeah.
If you were to say that in May, I would say you were correct, but you
Yeah.
can't say that
Yeah.
now. In the last 4 years, it's up 100%.
Yeah.
Just depends on what you pick your time and your date. But you know what? I like this. Be pessimistic. Great. Hans, this is excellent. Everyone, you know what to do.
Yeah. I guess I'm not here to predict the stock, but okay. I was just thinking this. Okay, following me through here. I'm trying to think.
here,
with
let me-
Elon.
Let me at least give you some flowers in that I don't think that FSD is a needle mover on the stock. Like, it's a tiny fraction compared to Cybercab. And what is
Robotaxi.
Cybercab doing? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, like, and we won't be able to tell when it's all said and done, how much of this, 100, 200, 300% stock move was due to people finally subscribing to FSD in their cars versus all those, millions of golden cybercabs running around everywhere.
Yeah, that's where I was heading towards. If you we'll break it down from Elon's perspective, right? And the goal. So Tesla has a huge advantage over everyone else except for maybe a handful of others, where they are a car manufacturer and they're developing their autonomous and they have a robo-taxi network. That's a combination of that. So in Elon's mind, what he's trying to do is lower the monthly cost of access to autonomous transportation. Period. So how do you make that transition from selling cars, now that I've got this, robo-taxi ready kind of technology, how do I make that transition? Low monthly cost. and have all sorts of kind of variations of that to bring them in. But because they have this car seller, that their car manufacturer, they can take advantage of that and have other people pay them that cost of building that car, the Model Ys, Model 3s, and then, slowly put it into the network when it's available. They make money. That changes the whole game all of a sudden. That's the advantage that they have. But going back to your original question, Nick, like, why don't they just not sell to customers at all and just put everything into robotaxi, which is where I was at for the longest time. And everybody I asked that, they go, that's ridiculous, because they have to shoulder the $40,000. If you can have somebody pay you a lease 3 years worth of that, they've paid you for the cost of the car manufacturing, and then you just put that into your robotaxi for free. But if you're making 30 grand a year, doesn't like
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
You're not making 30 grand a year though. That's the thing. You're making.
What do you mean? Once you put a car into the network, the calculations could be 30 grand a year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about them selling the vehicle.
No,
I thought you were saying them selling the car makes them 30 grand a year.
So there has to be a smooth transition of your manufacturing capacity. I think this is one of the things that gets lost in this conversation all the time. Like, you can't just stop selling Model Ys, Model 3s, Model S, and Model X overnight without now having to book huge costs, even if you send all of the manufacturing labor home, for all of the infrastructure that you have invested into all of these lines. And so you've got to have some sort of phase out plan where you're doing that. And I don't think they're going to want to try to absorb the full manufacturing capacity of the Sexy lineup and Cybertruck into the Cyber or the Robotaxi network immediately. And so that's where I think your leasing model makes a lot of sense there, or continuing to sell to customers. Either way, whatever they feel like works the best on that. But yeah, that's part of the nuance in this conversation. I'm sure someone like Jeff Lutz will tell you in a heartbeat, but a lot of other commentators are going to completely miss.
What happened to Nick?
I'm here. I just need to get up for a second.
Combing the hair.
No.
Yeah, how do you like the short hair, dude? How do you like it?
It's nice. Showering is so fast.
You had a
I don't
mullet.
know if you guys have ever had hair.
Did they call that a mullet?
A mullet? No, it's just called long hair. Do you tell your wife she has a mullet? I'm assuming she has long hair.
I don't even know what a mullet is, guys.
Mullet. Come over here. I'll show you. I'll show you what a mullet is. I'll give you a mullet. How about that?
I don't want to come over there. I don't need to come over anywhere.
Hey, don't say that. Sometimes you want to come somewhere. Yeah, I do. I agree with what Han's saying, but I think these conversations, we tend to talk about them and we avoid that transition part, which is probably the longest part of it. Like right now, we're in that transition point with it going to autonomy, right? And everyone thinks like, oh, boom, we're going to flip a button. Part of that is Elon's rhetoric, to be honest.
Yes.
But it's not going to happen like that. No transition, no technology ever happens like that. It's just it's compound interest. I say this all the time. It's a series of steps that we slowly get there. And eventually you look around, you're like, oh my God, it works. Oh my gosh, we have robotaxis here, right? It's not like one moment. It's a series of little steps that eventually all compound to getting to where you want to get to. There's never been anything where it's like, boom, there, we're done. Like this one push of a button. It's just not the way it ever works. It's the same kind of reason why I think a lot of times, if you've ever had like a really big goal or something you really are aiming for, and whether you're studying, you're working hard towards this goal, that by the time you get there, you've thought about what it's going to be like to reach that success, what it would feel like and all that you get there. And it's kind of like, all right. You're happy, but it doesn't have that feeling you thought it would, because you kind of used all of that good feeling to push you along the entire way. You kind of, pulled forward, a lot of that good feeling. And as you got closer and closer, that excitement, all that, so when it eventually happens, like, oh yeah, like it's good, it's happy. we were right. We succeeded, but it's not like this huge euphoric wave of emotion that you thought that you're sitting there in tears, like, oh my God, we did it. So I don't know. At least that's Nick's thoughts and opinions.
Well, what's the chances then, in that
Two.
flavor of what you're talking about there, that we're at 14.2.3, that we're going to get to 14.3 by next month? What do you think,
Two.
Hans? Is that 14.3?
Yeah, the chances are 2.
What do you mean by 2?
Oh no, I'm trying to make good jokes here. Brian's not here. I'm trying to. You said what are the chances? 2.
2 out of
No.
10?
I don't know. It was just 2. Yeah, it's supposed to be obscure. It's like, what's the answer? 42.
42.
Okay, it's the same thing.
That's why I asked Hans, not you. Hans answered.
Oh, I thought it was because he's pretty, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's definitely the
Guess you're
reason.
not.
Yeah, I mean, I would say low chances that we get
What?
14.3
I
by
love
that
it.
point in time.
Don't you get what he's doing? He's trying to piss you off, make you pessimistic, so the stock goes up. That's all he's doing.
Inverse. Okay, what do you mean?
Inverse
It's gonna
Herbert.
be low
Inverse
that we'll have-
psychology for the inverse Kramer of Tesla stock.
It's
so
the inverse
February 15th
Ong.
is a month from now, so it's low that he will get to 14.3 by then. Okay, what's
I would say
your reason?
less than 50%. Yeah, just
Okay.
I think that 14.3 has some big upgrades in it, and I think
Mhm.
actually getting that to the point that it's customer ready is a very difficult lift. Even if they think that they are going to have it out before then, right now today, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something that pops up between now and then that delays it. But I mean, I still think it's going to be relatively soon. I just don't know that 30 days, especially, it's hard to know how to interpret when it seems like we got really rapid updates from the point that 14.2 rolled out to now being on 14.2.2.3 or whatever the heck it's on. And
I swear they're trolling us now. Just to
I
get us to
know.
say that 14.2.2.2.2.2.2.3.
It's going to be, 14.2.4.2.4.2.4.2 until it's unsupervised.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, we haven't gotten anything from, like, the only way that I would have high confidence that that's happening is if Ashok was like 14.3 by end of January. Then I'd be like, okay, I'll take that to the bank. Otherwise, I'm going to say 20, 30, 40% chance.
Okay.
Well, he's been pretty quiet lately, huh?
I know. Why hasn't he done what he
mean-
did before, right? By the end of this month, we're going to accomplish these things. He did
Elon
that
hasn't
twice.
made him.
Maybe
not
it's
Elon.
because
Ashok.
maybe it's because we're so close that
Ashok.
he's like,
Ashok.
there's no point, and what am I going to say? That's it. We're done. It's live. Or is it gonna be like, we're right there? There's no point of saying anything. Let's just finish.
I mean, I do think the fact that he personally presented this year or this past year all of the updates of what Tesla has been building behind the scenes to basically have end-to-end FSD training was huge signal. Like, I think that is, hey, we are in the end game of solving this. So, that's kind of a different level of thing than when he came out on X and said, hey, we're going to accomplish all these things by the end of October in 2024. But that is really big for the head of Tesla's AI division to go and personally present all of that work that the team has done over the last couple of years when they had gone radio silent.
So Hans, I got a question for you. Okay, so does my theory of why they've slowed down robotaxi rollout to have no monitor, to have bigger geographies, to go to multiple cities, is because you're so close for 14.3. My question though is, would they first roll out 14.3 to all of us first so that you truly have real testing of that? Or would you go ahead and roll it out in a robotaxi and then roll it out to us after they feel comfortable?
I definitely think you roll that out in the robotaxi fleet first. under the supervision of your, like, if you've got safety drivers that you have to be using anyways, you might as well use them to do some advanced testing on your software. And you can have them do extra logging and all kinds of stuff that you can't have your FSD fleet do. You can do shadow mode testing at the same time. And then you can kind of roll out to the regular FSD fleet shortly thereafter.
I think Hans is correct. And I'll add a different reason why I think Hans is correct. I don't remember which earnings call, maybe 2 or 3 earnings calls ago, Ashok mentioned that they're starting to make FSD model versions that are somewhat localized in a certain area. I think that's why we see a lot of these validation Teslas out there scan the areas. And so because of that, if you give everyone 14.3, it's not really going to be enough signal for them to see what they're trying to figure out in the given cities and regions that they're actually testing, because I think those have their own data sets that are influencing those models. So I think Hans is right because of that alone. Now, they haven't given us much update on that since they mentioned that once, and I haven't heard anyone ask questions about it, but it's hard for me to forget about that. But that would tell me that they would want to make sure that they're doing it in the given areas, and giving it to the rest of us just is not going to help them in the small little idiosyncrasies that are robotaxi specific that we're not going to help give them signal for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love it. I do think that makes sense. Do you guys think then that you agree with me that that's the likely reason why they've not yet rolled it out to multiple cities, to bigger geographies, to pull the monitor? Waiting for 14.3 to be launched.
I'll give another potential. I'll give another potential reason. The more you roll out, the more Waymo type incidences that are possible that could happen, right? Like Waymo's just on a railroad, whatever. As we get closer and closer to Congress or NHTSA making these changes, you don't exactly want Tesla to be on the headlines. Oh, this happened. How about we let that pass, get that done, then we scale out, because we don't want to slow down the regulation.
That's a fantastic point.
Yes, yeah. Got one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, the other thing for people to just keep in the back of their minds is that when Elon says, hey, we want whatever half the population of the US covered by, service area that Tesla will do by the end of December, however you want to interpret his statement, when he's saying something like that, he does think there's a possibility that that's actually achievable. And I think he has different thresholds for the audacity of those goals in different scenarios. I think that one happened to be a pretty audacious goal. A lot of times, though, he's, especially with his longer term predictions, he's thinking, if as long as we don't have a whole bunch of things that are all terrible, all happen at the same time, this is like a 50% likelihood. And so, yeah, like that's when I'm thinking of where we're at right now with the FSD rollout and with the robotaxi rollout. I think that, he made some predictions about what has to go right and what has to go wrong. And there's like 50% of the scenarios could force it to go longer, 50% of the scenarios it could potentially go faster. And we just happen to live in the version of reality where the things that, he thought may not happen did. And we end up on the slower side of the prediction instead of the faster. Because, there are things that he predicts that happen far sooner than he expects too. So, yeah, that's just, the probabilistic way that he sets deadlines and goals.
Yeah, something must have happened why we didn't even get close to that. I like Nick's suggestion, because what happened this week, right? This is what happened this week. We had the U.S. House committee met. Look at what they were saying. Very cool stuff. A lot of really good stuff, and one not so good.
Autonomous vehicles. Why is a federal AV framework essential for the U.S. to win the AI race with China?
Thank you very much, Congressman, for your question. I will be brief. It provides the certainty to innovators, manufacturers, and the entire ecosystem, including those who invest in the technology, so they can continue to flourish and be integrated safely into our ecosystem.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I yield back.
That's great. So recognition of China is really important.
Autonomous vehicles are the center of technology competition with China and have the potential to save lives and reduce traffic fatalities. Can you discuss how the Self-Drive Act will help achieve these critical objectives?
Certainly, the Self-Drive Act would provide one federal framework for automated vehicle companies to need to achieve before introducing automated vehicles onto the roadway. And I see this playing out very differently from how it plays out in China. If China has one superpower in this world, it's the ability to just direct where industry should go, and they go. No debate, no discussions, clear path forward. In the US, we have a much better system. And the way I've seen this play out over the last decade is, for example, the Energy and Commerce Committee spoke definitively about a decade ago, passing the Self-Drive Act, and the House of Representatives did the same. Key areas were included in there, and the example I would use are the safety assessment letters. Now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and DOT under the Trump administration incorporated that and then started promoting the voluntary safety self-assessments. Similar to the safety assessment letters, 12 key areas that manufacturers and innovators needed to hit as they tested and developed automated vehicles throughout the process. We saw that continue further in states like California and Pennsylvania, Arizona, Texas, Florida, as they consider different ways to do this. And so as I look at the Self-Drive Act today, I don't see preemption, I see agreement. I see the nation coming together on a clear path forward, endorsing the safety case approach to proving the safety of an automated vehicle before it's introduced into the national roadways and introduced into commerce. We've done our job.
Wait, I'm going to pause it there and stop it. Basically, very much in agreement. This looks like that they're all going to do this for China and all that. But listen to this conversation here about the caps of purely autonomous vehicles. If you create a car without steering wheels and pedals and side mirrors, how many can you do?
And to your point, the caps on the number of vehicles and the length of those exemptions make it almost an unusable program for the industry right now. And we think it's a critical one for new innovative safety technologies. On the number of vehicles and the...
Yeah, almost like she's suggesting we should remove the caps, actually. So pretty good. The only part that could possibly, I think, could be negative is that there was a part in this hearing where they were saying that multi-sensor approach is important to have LiDAR, radar as well. So there could be some sort of legislation says all cars must have LiDAR and radar, and then that would leave Tesla in a lurch. That's the only one we need to keep a watch of.
Well, we know what whatever remaining Luminar lobbyists are going to be.
Luminar is gone. Yeah.
Talking to. Well, that doesn't mean their lobbyists are gone.
Yeah.
The best lobbyist in the world right now is Elon when he's having dinner with Trump. So
this hearing is happening now, and so maybe, like you guys said, Tesla said, you know what, let's postpone our rollout. We don't want to have an issue because let this occur. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think, just with real quick with that, I don't think the government, they've been really good about not mandating how you achieve a certain technology. They just want to see that you have certain outcomes. So can you prove the safety worthiness of it? Can you show and demonstrate this? And if you can, normally that's all that matters. Doesn't matter how you got there as long as you do that. Because otherwise, everything they're saying about China is wrong. Like if your whole point is that we need to be able to compete against China, but then you're going to sit there and burden us to use outdated technology, how are we competing against China? Even China doesn't do that. China doesn't tell them how to do it. They just say do it.
No. Yeah. In fact, they just approve broadly. 50 cities, by the way, they can do this. I actually did a comparison. So people are like compared, they're going, oh my God, don't you know, WeRide, Baidu, they all have. Yes. You got Waymo at about 2,500 vehicles. You have Baidu at 2,500 vehicles. You have WeRide at 1,000 vehicles. You have Zoox at 200. So yes, they're ahead, but it's not massive numbers. Now Tesla's still behind, right? We're at I don't know what the latest numbers are. 60, 100? Where are we? But, you know, we'll see. We'll need to
Yep.
get
So
past
I got
that.
a question.
Hey.
Oh, go ahead.
Ask the question. I'm
Go ahead.
interested.
Oh, no, I heard Farzad on a stream, I don't know, a couple days ago. He said that California has something like 130 human supervised autonomous robotaxis, and that I guess Austin now has like 20 to 30. Do we know, like, are those numbers accurate, or is he just shooting from the hip?
I would
No, I think
assume
they're
he's
accurate.
using Omar's.
The RoboTrack, the
Yeah.
RoboTracker. I've just been reporting on how many that they've been adding.
Yeah.
They're tracking license plates. Those
Yeah.
are
Okay.
pretty accurate.
But
And I think
so
based
it's not
on
like we know
coverage
that they're out
area,
at the same
that
time.
those ratios make sense too.
Okay. But we don't know like how many are out at the same time though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing that I was going to say earlier is, the Chinese autonomous vehicle that I want to ride in is that cool little Minecraft style microbus that just bounces down all the bumpy roads and goes through the concrete and just bum ba dum ba dum. The unstoppable AV.
There's so many of these viral videos where these Chinese self-driving vehicles, and they're just like going wherever they want to go. They just keep going through. It's a problem. Okay, how many cyber cabs do you think are being tested right now on public roads in the United States?
15.
Oh my God! No.
Prove it.
I'm thinking 30.
Prove it. Prove me wrong.
Well, I can't prove you wrong.
Well, then
but
don't say
basically,
no.
We're at 10. There's 10.
No, that's 10 that they know of.
Well, then where'd you come up with your number? Just guessing. Okay, well, I guess.
Because I'm
we're
guessing there's
guessing,
at
but
least 5 that
this is-
people don't know about.
Fair. Okay. I see where your mind, I see the way Nick's mind works there. Okay. Take a number and don't believe it and then add your own smudge. But okay. These are
Like,
the
imagine if we
numbers.
had only seen 9. The real number would be 10. Right?
It's an engineering safety factor.
Yeah.
Okay. Agreed. So
It
there's
is.
been
It's
10
literally like
spotted
anytime you
on
see
public
anything,
roads.
load capacity, it's actually more than what you see there. It always is.
Well, I mean, you can also say some of these were spotted and they were the same ones. We don't know if they were different, but they're being tested in Buffalo and Chicago too, by the way. So they're being tested in the cold weather as well. You're right. You're right. Maybe I wasn't reported, but that is a
Love
good
those words.
sign, guys. We have 10 cyber cabs at least.
Real quick, I'm not going to hop off the way Brian used to, but just if you don't mind, Herbert, just a quick little plug. If anybody wants to talk stock with Tesla and options, me and Greg are holding the spaces on Monday. I think I set it for 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to go in, just talk up options, stock, we're going to be doing that. And then the cutoff date to our January options crash course is on Wednesday, January 21st. I'll let you guys know there's only like 3 spots left. So we're going to do another one in February. But again, just join for that spaces, just good times. It's MLK Day, market's closed. Just figure it's a good time to hop on, talk stock and options and whatever other degenerate thing we get into.
How do they find you? They go to your X account at Nick Gibbs IAG, or how do they just go and look for your space at that time? Monday.
Yeah. Just go to my X handle. You can see it right here. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this is low.
On X.
Right.
Yeah,
here.
I can see.
On X. Yeah.
I don't know where you're.
Oh, I just always assume this is
pointing.
on X. It's on YouTube. Yeah, on X.
Yeah. All right.
If you guys want to join, feel free to join. Xander, if you're listening, feel free to join.
Only if you promise not to wear those same jeans. People are complaining that you're showing too much leg.
Too much leg?
Whoa. Okay, Jesus.
This is what it looks like when people work in their jeans. They get rips in them.
Or it's Wild Thornberry style. You get in a new pack and immediately cut holes in the knees.
I think he purposely cut it, man. That's the kind of guy he is. He gets his brand new jeans and he goes, "I'm gonna cut it right here to make it look cool."
No, these are bonobo jeans. They don't sell ripped jeans, so that's how you know.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered a lot. There we go.
Yeah.
Other topics. I mean, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, so I find it kind of interesting right now that we have all this update, all these sightings of robo taxis, insurance expanding. I mean, if I didn't know better, it definitely seems like we are getting ready for some type of bigger something. I don't know if it's like more vehicles out there or new cities announcing or what, or if it's all just preparation for when regulation passes. But it does seem like the tensions are building for Tesla. And I would even say for the market as a whole. We've had Venezuela, we've got everything's going on with Iran, we've got all the Greenland drama. There's all kinds of reasons to kind of poo-poo on this market right now, but it's holding up really good. And I would say like normally the start of the year is, and when I say start, I mean like the first quarter. There tends to be like some real crazy volatility events or some kind of hiccups. And if the stuff that we've seen so far hasn't done it, I mean, who knows? Maybe this weekend something happens with Iran, that'll be it. But the fact that we're kind of going through all of this and holding up really good as a market, it tells me that the more institutional, the bigger powers out there, the people with bigger portfolios, bigger money to put to work, it seems like they're eating as opportunity presents itself, and they're the ones that are actually holding this market up. So I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting, and we see inflation numbers are coming out pretty good, and we see GDP is gangbuster right now. It's crazy. I mean, and don't take my word for it. Even the all-in guys are talking about it. You can go watch the Atlanta Fed, what they're predicting. So I don't know. Like it to me, with all that, and I zoom back into Tesla, it just seems like there's a good potential that we have a nice little break here. So hopefully that doesn't get Herbert too excited, and then the inverse happens.
Inverse. Don't get me excited.
Just want to share where my head is at this week.
Well, I would agree with all of that, and then add in, we had the huge Trump bump at the end of 2024, and then we had the great fallout and the huge Trump unbump for Tesla. But now we've, like over the last couple of months, we got Jared Isaacman actually confirmed as NASA administrator. You've got Pete Hegseth delivering that monumental speech about the focus of the Department of War moving forward. The impact of what all that they're trying to do right now in the Department of War, and how that transforms the U.S. military, which is the largest and most powerful fighting force in the whole world, is huge. For him to deliver that announcement from Starbase is huge. And then also having this national framework for regulation for FSD, it seems to me,
yes,
like all of the people in positions of making decisions within the administration have realigned in a positive orientation towards Elon and all things Elon, Tesla included, SpaceX, everything. I'll just say one more brief aside. Yes, SpaceX is an Elon company, and so it's kind of important that Pete Hegseth is there because of what that looks like for Tesla and Elon, for us as Tesla investors. But it's not an understatement to say that SpaceX is potentially the single most valuable U.S. military asset, bar none. There's
undeniable.
Only one high ground, and Starship will be a dominating platform for the ultimate high ground of space. And so, that there's a reason that Pete Hegseth is there, why that is such a national treasure for U.S. national security. But anyways.
Yeah. I mean,
what are you guys'
6
thoughts?
months ago? 6 months ago, we were all very concerned that regulatory approval needed to happen, not only for autonomy, federal framework for autonomy, but for robots and for AI. And where we're sitting today is looking really good. I was banging the desk so strongly. Why hasn't China came out 2 years ago, and they came out very strongly saying, we're going to fully support robotics. We're going to have the largest, the most robotic industry in the world, and they, humanoid robots is a thing, and there's like hundreds of companies formed. They support it. Here's U.S. not saying a single thing. Now that they've dealt with AI, the government is saying we're going to be focused on robotics here in the U.S. as well.
Yeah.
And then you see autonomy, and that's why this hearing was important. You actually heard lawmakers. Look, don't you remember just a year ago, like the dumbest things that they say? Like they have no friggin' idea what's actually going on in the world.
Welcome to
Here,
the
at
good
least they're
side.
going, at least here they're saying, hey, autonomy is important. It's safe. It's safer. That was the bulk of the hearing. And important that we compete with the world stage, including China. All that was the right thing for them to say. Autonomous transportation is something that they're not going to just let go, because there was a doubt 6 months ago. There was a doubt whether or not the U.S. would say, no, we don't want to put our efforts onto this space, because guess what? Whatever unions or oil and gas lobby or whatever it was, that, and then robotics too, right? You heard President Trump say that he's going to fully support robotics in the U.S. So that's a sea change.
That was, I've been pretty bullish on him in general. As a president, I think he's made a lot of really good moves. Again, I'm kind of like everyone. I don't always love all the rhetoric, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do think it's funny. But I think he's made a lot of good moves. That was not one that I would have even thought he would have done, which is lean into the robotics. That was really exciting for me. Because,
maybe Elon had his year finally, because
I hope
the
so.
reason they had a falling out was Elon. He wouldn't listen to him on tariffs. He wouldn't listen to him. The little tariffs. So they got rid of Jared Isaac.
But like we all know, Elon is right, but he was just late. So he finally got everybody to see what he saw all along. Just took him a while, but just seeing that our government is leaning into robotics. Wow, that honestly gives me some hope. And seeing them lean into, I don't know. It's like sometimes I get so down on government in general. I think government tends to be a waste of money, period. But sometimes you see these global moments, okay, well, I mean, it's only 5 years later, but they're starting to get it and they're actually talking about it. It's okay, great. It just, I don't know, it gives you a little hope that it's not all completely screwed up. Or maybe
what happened with this U.S. House rep, because it just went through there. They still got to go where else has to go. But you saw that video where she said the caps on the number of autonomous vehicles and the length of those exceptions make it almost an unusable program for the industry right now.
No, I agree.
So
to me,
fantastic.
In general, I know we're not talking about politics, but mine's very straightforward. I look at technology and where technology is going, and whoever is part of where the technology is going, that tends to be where I like. And so seeing lean into SpaceX, lean into Starlink, lean into Tesla, lean into autonomy, lean into robotics, yes, that's clearly the future. It's not even a question that that's the right direction. We actually live in a really great time as investors because, 10, 15 years ago, you don't really know which companies are going to win. Right now, it is so clear cut to me which companies are going to win. Most of them happen to be owned by Elon, but Google's going to win. They're not going to lose. Some of these are just so obvious that you can't miss, especially as buy and hold investors. Pardon?
Jensen is going to win.
Jensen
is going to win.
It's not even a question. You don't have to think about it. It's a winner. It's some of these are just such no brainers.
Yep. And Amazon, it's on the robotics front too that you were mentioning. I like Jason's coining of the term, the corporate singularity, when you have more robots than humans.
I don't know if you need the number.
Signal.
Doesn't have to be number, because you can have 1/3 of the robots, but yes.
Yep.
Oh, it's a bipartisan committee, by the way. So that's just the
that's also refreshing.
Yes.
It's a move of the organization. So, right. So you were saying, Nick, that all these things are happening, but we are, PTSD, right? I mean, we all thought. I mean, it's all Elon's fault.
No,
By
wait,
the end of this
his
year,
fault.
we'll have this, and this.
Oh,
I
that.
mean, like, if you didn't set these dates, we're way ahead of what we expected. I never thought we would have solved.
If he didn't set those
FSD.
dates, it would take longer though. So it's like,
True.
this is just part of the roller coaster journey. And, this was one of the things that Peter Lynch taught me, is that volatility is the price of outperformance. And if you can't stomach the ups and downs, then don't be a long-term investor and don't expect to make 30% per year compound annual returns. But if you want to crush your average Gary Blacks, you've got to be able to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And that involves patience and it involves being cool when everyone else is losing their shit and selling their shares.
Gary Black, how does his fund do? Herbert's like, guys, no, don't do this. Don't do this.
I mean,
It's a fair question, isn't it? I don't actually know. So it's just a genuine question. But
I think
yeah,
he's not too far off of, the indices, but still, I mean,
I bet you he's not beating it.
probably not.
But no, I agree with everything you just said, Hans. I love volatility. I think volatility is great. Volatility is how you make money. Without volatility, you don't make money. So I think volatility is great. The only thing with Elon is I wish he would, like, it's hard, right? It's like, how do you change someone the way they are? And like, how do you tell someone to change what they're doing when what they're doing has gotten to where they are at this point? So really maybe it's us that needs to change. And when we hear him say certain things, we just should be like, yeah, okay. Let's that'd be nice if it happens, but we'll take it with a grain of salt kind of thing. Maybe we're the ones that need to change and stop asking him to change. Maybe that's what needs to happen. And that's what I've been trying to do. I mean, Herbert, you told me I was pessimistic the other day when we were talking about the outlook. And I was like, well, I'm trying to change.
True.
I can't make Elon change, so I'm trying to iterate. So
That's right. I remember that. You said whatever Elon says, add 6 months to it. You push it.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. But like you said, at the end of the day, we're all
key
watching
to
FSD.
happiness in
Sure.
life is to lower your expectations.
I don't know if that's true. I
No,
don't agree.
dude.
Yeah.
No.
Hans, you had me saying, yeah, I agree with Hans on just about everything until now. Don't listen to Hans, everybody. What's he know?
Lower your expectations. No, man.
Just because that's what your wife did doesn't mean. Oh, finally, I got to laugh. All right, so I
That's
got
a
to make
good one.
fun of people to get Herbert to laugh.
No,
Herbert's
no,
like
that's not
in Big Daddy, where the kid only laughs if someone like trips over a stick when they're on the rollerblades. I have to make fun of someone for Herbert to laugh at my jokes.
that's not true, but okay. Oh, brother. That's a good place
Comedy
to stop.
idiocracy style.
Yeah, exactly.
We better stop. Okay, guys, that was a good show again. Thank you, everybody. Tune in each week.
We're still
co-stream
hired.
on our 3 channels. Our 3 channels here: Hans at Hans C. Nelson, and then Nick Gibbs, IAG at Investing Against the Grain. Check out his URL there, and check out when he does his stream or his space that he's going to do on Monday. Always good information. Thanks,
And
everybody.
sorry, one last plug. I do have a new podcast I just started. It's called Behind the Trade. Again, if you're into option trading, go check it out. It's me and Greg. We sit right here and we talk about winners, losers, trading markets, Tesla, all that good stuff. All the
Be
stuff
careful,
that
guys. They
people don't.
often wear pants or no pants or like that.
We show
so
knee.
just
We
be
might
careful.
show some knee.
They show knee a lot.
Yeah. Just for
Thanks,
you,
guys.
big boy.